on the corporate network. But right now, there's really no effective way to do that.
Right.
To the extent that Cablevision could say, look, we're gonna run we're gonna run Ethernet service to all of your stores, and effectively when they plug in the store, it's no different than if they plugged in down the hall from you. And by the way, it's no longer $80, $300. Sleepy's is going to jump at that. So there's a big opportunity there as well, both in pricing pressure and addressable market, I think.
There's a 60% penetration of the SME market is interesting. Actually, it's quite high.
Yes, it really is, and the reason that it's so high is that Cablevision was really first to market with commercial services. So if you look at, if you wonder why Cablevision isn't growing as much on SMB as Comcast, Charter, Spectrum, and then all the other players, including Suddenlink, perhaps, it's because Cablevision was out there years before any of the other tier ones launched their SMB products.
Okay. So actually, like out there early and okay. This is obviously extremely useful, and so even though I've spent much of my career working in phone companies, oddly enough, you're catching me out on a lot. The last thing I just wanted to check on was kind of, I guess you didn't overlap for more than a few hours with the new team from Altice, who's sort of been parachuted in mainly from French, but also their Portuguese operations.
Yeah.
But I mean, just I guess from sort of osmosis, from I guess friends and colleagues who's still there, and that kind of sense of what's going on. I mean, is there sort of a view that these guys are great, they're tough but fair, they're a little wild, they're any kind of general sense that you can give in terms of their kind of behavior and cultural aspects?
I think that they're, from my understanding is that they're smart folks, they're smart guys. They are still learning the U.S. market, but they're open to learning the U.S. market.
Yes.
The one concern that I have, the two concerns that I have with the management team, one is that they're very top down focused. So
yes.
Whereas you had a team at Cablevision that was very bottom up and really took responsibility for defining the go-to-market approach and then executing on it and doing very well. Now you've got a team of people who are who have a good sense of what should be done, but they rather than do that, they're following instructions from folks that they may not necessarily believe understand their market.
Yeah.
I think that probably fixes itself over time. The other concern that I have though is that I don't believe that there's a sense of trust necessarily that the current management will take care of its employees. So, I think that folks, a lot of folks that are still there are not doing as well financially as they hoped that they would.
Okay.
I don't believe that they necessarily trust the company to take care of them financially. And you've got folks leaving, left and right as a result of that. And it could be that eventually fixes itself as well as new people come in and aren't necessarily shaded with their pre-existing understandings of what the U.S. cable market is supposed to look like, right? So you get a young group in there and they have a different view of reality, and perhaps that fixes itself with time.
Yes. I can imagine that transition is difficult with very cost and cash conscious management who haven't made any of the previous assurances. I'm sure we've all been through that.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Look, extremely useful. I'm sure there are things that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you, but that's been really helpful. Paul, no, that's great. Look, I'll wrap up there, but thank you very much for taking the call.